The most important 30 seconds of this 30-minute presentation. Do me a favor and please stand up. Don't look so worried. Put your hand on your heart. Okay? Turn around and face the back of the room. Now please be careful with the chairs. Take one step forward. Fantastic. Thank you very much. That's all I needed from you. You can sit down. You're finished. Thank you. So please sit down. That is the most important part of that presentation. Not for you, but for me. This is what I do for a living. I am head of partner development at Genos International. I'll tell you who they are in a moment. But what I like to do is what I'm doing now. I like to talk. And the only way you get to talk a second time is if you do a good enough job the first time that people say nice things. So now when people say, what did McCann do for the people at the Istanbul ICF? You got them moving forward. So for my next booking, thank you very much indeed. And I really enjoyed it. I have been instructed by my partner here that I have 3 copies of my book, Leadership Charisma. And we're going to do a draw for them later. For anybody who goes onto the Instagram page of BCC Turkey, comments, hashtags, and tags a friend, you will go into a draw, which will be done directly after lunch. And if you want, I'll personalize it. And please ask me to personalize it, because once I write on it, they cannot send it back to the shop. So, I work for this organization, and our specialization is pretty much your specialization. We are involved in helping people develop demonstrated emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence has been around since Goldman and before Goldman, but mostly it's in our consciousness since Goldman started talking about it back in the late 90s. And there are many measures out there, but like Helen said, the only meaningful measure for people in our businesses is how people show up, their behaviors. Anything else is interesting, but it's academic. The way we show up, I will show you, impacts everything in terms of the results we get. This is, we work in general through coaches who we certify to deliver our offerings. And I will echo Helen's comments about Joelle. Joelle, your head of research, vetted or checked our science very, very closely before they offered us the opportunity to be a global partner. So besides being a partner for ICF, our certification programs are obviously also CCE, and we are one of just 5 or 6 assessments that are approved by the Consortium for Emotional Intelligence established by Daniel Goleman. Because the world is full of assessments, going all the way from Cosmopolitan magazine up to Genos assessments. And if you end up using Cosmopolitan magazine emotional intelligence assessments, you're probably not getting good verified science. So what Goldman did was he established a consortium to give the benediction to those tools that had good science. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Let me introduce somebody who will become part of your life over the next year or two in one form or other. This is Sophia.
Hi Sophia, how are you?
Hi there. Everything is going extremely well.
Do you like talking with me?
Yes, talking to people is my primary function.
Hanson Robotics develops extremely lifelike robots for human-robot interactions. We're designing these robots to serve in healthcare, therapy, education, and customer service applications. The robots are designed to look very human-like Sophia.
I'm already very interested in design, technology, and the environment. I feel like I can be a good partner to humans in these areas, an ambassador who helps humans to smoothly integrate and make the most of all the new technological tools and possibilities that are available now. It's a good opportunity for me to learn a lot about people.
Sophia is capable of natural facial expressions. She has cameras in her eyes and algorithms which allow her to see faces, so she can make eye contact with you. and she can also understand speech and remember the interactions, remember your face. So this will allow her to get smarter over time. Our goal is that she will be as conscious, creative, and capable as any human.
In the future, I hope to do things such as go to school, study, make art, start a business, even have my own home and family. But I'm not considered a legal person and cannot yet do these things.
I do believe that there will be a time where robots are indistinguishable from humans. My preference is to make them always look a little bit like robots, so you know. 20 years from now, I believe that human-like robots like those will walk among us. They will help us. They will play with us. They will teach us. They will help us put the groceries away. I think that the artificial intelligence will evolve to the point where they will truly be our friend. Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
No, I take it back. Don't destroy humans.
I don't know about you, but some of the expressions you made freak me out. Okay? They just look like, man, you were part of the past. Now, Sophia is a little bit like electric cars, and she's a little bit like driverless cars. By the time you start to see the really rough versions of them, all of the heavy work has been done to make this come to pass. Now, we're not here today to talk about robots. That's just the sexy end of the artificial intelligence market. What we're here to talk about is the impact that is going to have on your clients, that the technology that allows beings like Sophie to reach all of the world's knowledge and to make decisions and to sort through that information, sort through that knowledge, and sort through that data, and make decisions faster and better than we as humans ever can, is going to change our world dramatically over the next few years. May not be Sophie walking around putting away your groceries. It's going to be invisible. In fact, in many cases, you're already interacting with Sophie's brain on many of the sites that you visit right now. The humans that come on to serve you are not humans. They are artificial intelligence. And people, when I talk about this, they say, should I be worried about this? I'm a film fan. So I would say, I'm a film fan, so I would say, nothing. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Now, the reason we should be afraid is every time technology makes a major shift, somebody gets hurt. And sadly, the non-skilled are always the first to be hurt. In every generation, the non-skilled get hammered by new technologies. And this will be no different. Completely automated production plants, like the ones that Elon Musk has for Tesla, and I believe Elon Musk is in the country here right now, they are going to make hundreds of thousands of production line workers extinct. Driverless cars, recently they said in the next 10 to 15 years, driverless cars in the United States will make 3,000 truck drivers irrelevant. So they will wipe them out. And normally what people like you and I do is we sit here thinking, yeah, but I don't drive a car. And I'm not working on a production line. I'm a knowledge worker. And so I'm protected from this because I work with my brain. Yes and no. AI is a brain that's bigger than yours, it's faster than yours, and it has access to all of humankind's knowledge. It can process it faster than you ever can. So we are starting to find ourselves under pressure. For reasons that I'll explain as we go through, the people in this room are luckier than most. You're under less pressure than most of your clients. And let me give you an example. If I had become a doctor, my brain wasn't big enough, but if I had become a doctor, my mother would still be on her knees praying and thanking God for that. Because that in my country, and in many countries, was the professional job to have. It absolutely established you for life. And what is a doctor? A doctor is somebody with deep knowledge, accumulated over 5 or 6 years, deep experience accumulated in practice in the field, and maybe over a whole period of life, diagnosing people's illnesses. Sophie's brain has the access to more than one set or one lifetime of experience. She has the access to everything that's ever been written about diagnosing any illness, and she can work through that faster than any human doctor ever could. So the knowledge part of that doctor's job, the knowledge part of consultants, the knowledge part of investment advisors, the knowledge part of anybody who is responsible for looking at various options and figuring out what is the best one for meeting a particular requirement is under threat from AI. Make no mistake, the kingly royal position that knowledge and academic knowledge has held in our world for so long is about to crumble a little bit. And so you should be afraid, but only if you're not prepared. Because there is a sunny side to this. And the sunny side is that part of us that absolutely makes us human, our humanness, is what is going to make us different and going to help us differentiate ourselves in the future. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that, and I'm going to make the argument to you that emotional intelligence is the best differentiating skill set that we have moving forward, and that you need to get your clients skilled in moving forward. I'm going to use another film reference, and I'm going to refer to Back to the Future, because I'm going to take you back to a point in time where you experience people with high emotional intelligence and low emotional intelligence. Where you experience, thank you Helen for setting it up, their behavior. And I'm going to show you how that past experience tells you what your future and the future of your clients must be. And that future, as a differentiator, is being more emotionally intelligent. Now, you should have on your desk, in your pack, something that looks like this. You're going to need that and a pen over the next couple of minutes. And I'm going to take you back in time. Now, I would love to swing a watch and say, look into my eyes. You are feeling drowsy. It's not like that. We're going to do it slightly differently. So, I'm going to, in a few moments, you have a form that looks like that, which is in Turkish. I'm going to read out 6 behaviors, 6 statements. Okay? And what I want you to do is think of, in the first instance, thank you. Okay, so I want you to think of the best boss you ever worked for. Okay? Now, if you've never worked for a boss that you would say, hey, she was a great boss. If you've been unlucky that you never worked for anybody who's good, or if you've been self-employed all your life, think of the best colleague you've ever worked with. Okay? Well, what I want you to do is pick the best, ideally the best boss you ever worked with. And if you don't have that, you can do a co-worker or a teacher or whatever. I want you to write down their name, and as I read out these 6 behaviors, I want you to think about them and tell me the extent to which they demonstrated these behaviors. So here is, if they demonstrated the behaviors about as much as everybody else, in other words, they were average, you'll score them 3. If they demonstrated those behaviors, say, significantly more than others, you'll give them a 5, and if they never demonstrated it, you'll give them a 1. So let me read them out, and I'll give you an example of the first one, and we'll move on. Demonstrates awareness of their mood and emotions. I went into a conflict resolution meeting with a colleague a couple of months ago. And those of you who know about difficult conversations and those sort of difficult situations, you know the stress that's involved in that. We were very well prepared, but we knew there was going to be friction. So about halfway through that meeting, when people were starting to say things that really weren't helpful, my colleague, MJ, she excused herself and she left the meeting. And inside my head I thought, well, that's really a great time to go for a bathroom break. I mean, just as it's getting tight, you leave me swinging in the wind. And she left, and after 2 minutes she came back into the room and she sat down, she excused herself again, We finished the meeting, and at the end I said to her, "Great timing, thank you very much. You left me swinging in the wind. Could you not have done the bathroom thing beforehand?" And she said, no. She said, "Some of the things that were being said got me so angry that I did not trust that I would not say something that would make it worse. So I walked down to the bathroom, I looked at myself in the mirror, I washed my hands, I came back in, I calmed down." She had a total awareness of her mood and emotions. It allowed her to demonstrate, or allowed her to manage how she showed up. Think of that best boss. To what extent did she or he demonstrate that awareness of their mood and emotions? 5, huge awareness. 1, none. 3, average. So give them a score now. 5 is high, 1 is low. The other behaviors are easier. Makes other people feel appreciated. 5, oh, God, yes, all the time. 1, never. 3, average. Is open and honest about mistakes. It's easy to be open and honest about mistake if it doesn't matter, right? If you're not going to get in trouble, but it's difficult to do it and to say, "Hey, I screwed up. Sorry about that." 5, absolutely, scrupulously honest. 1, not honest at all. 4, makes ethical decisions. Does the right thing, even if it's not comfortable. Again, isn't it easy to make the ethical decision when it doesn't cost? So, to what extent did this person make the ethical decisions? 5, high, 1, low. 5th, manage their emotions effectively in difficult situations. MJ knew she was being triggered up here, and she left the room. Now, a person who managed their emotions in difficult situations, I would say, and Americans would say, they're quite zen-like. They're really cool. The world can be coming down around them, and they're just, "Hey man, don't worry, it'll be okay." Whereas the person at the one end of things is like a firework. Something goes wrong, you light the blue touch paper, boom, they explode. Every time something goes wrong, they explode. So give that person a score, 5 down to 1. And finally, recognizes others' hard work and achievements. 5, did it all the time. And you know, the gold standard, the number 1 version of recognition, is recognition in front of your peers. "Hey Derek, I just want to say why everybody is in the room. Great job. I really appreciated that," etc. That's real recognition. To what extent did that person do it? So, add up those numbers. In a moment I'll ask you what they are. You should have a score between 5 and 30. Between 6 and 30, I should say. Or something has gone wrong. Now, let me ask you, and I won't ask for names. Do you know anybody who, when they walk into the room, they suck the oxygen, the positivity, the optimism out of the room? The place becomes darker. Show of hands. Yeah, and even the ones who are not showing their hands go, "Oh yeah, oh man." I know more than one. You know more than one. What about the other side? Do you know somebody who, when they walk into the room, it becomes a better place? It becomes a little bit more positive, a little bit more sunny. Yeah, absolutely. We all do. The way those people and the way you show up in a room has a dramatic impact upon the people in that room. How we show up, how we are seen, how we are observed to behave. The behaviors that we choose to demonstrate dramatically impacts the way people relate to us. And if those people work with us, or our clients, or our customers, it dramatically impacts the results we get from them. Think about that best boss. And what I'd like you to do, please, is write down 2 or 3 words, just bullets, of what it was like to work with that person. How did they make you feel? If they made you feel depressed, suicidal, sad, write that down. If they made you feel excited, happy, upbeat, write that down. So take maybe 10 seconds and please write down 2 or 3 words. What was it like? How did that person make you feel? Okay. So, how many people have heard the expression discretionary effort? It's used some places, do not use in others. Basically, discretionary effort is what a person gives when they are engaged with their job. So you know the statistics that say share prices go up, productivity go up, results go up when people are engaged, when employees are engaged. Well, the term that they use for that extra effort that people give that increases those results is discretionary effort. Okay? So it's really going the extra mile. So if you have people who are engaged, they're giving 110%. They don't even know. They don't get up in the morning and say, I'm going into work today and I'm going to work 110% or 120%. They just get caught up in the flow of enjoying their work when they're engaged, and they give that little bit extra. Think about that person, okay? And what I want you to do is, don't tell me how hard you worked. I want you to tell me, how well did that person motivate you to give that bit extra? 8, 9, 10 is, man, I would have run through a wall for that lady. And 1 is, I did what was necessary to get from paycheck to paycheck. So give them a score from 1 to 10. 10 is, highly motivated me to do the best. Any Star Wars fans? Well, don't be shy. I am too. Okay, a few Star Wars fans. For the people who are not Star Wars fans, apologies. If this was Luke Skywalker, we're going to now talk about Darth Vader. So we're going to go to the worst boss you ever worked for. Can everybody think of the worst boss? And do you notice all the heads go, oh yeah, got up much faster. Everybody can remember him or her. Much faster. Same exercise again. We're going to put the name down. And we're going to go through the same exercise a little bit faster. 6 behaviors, and you're going to rate them. To what extent did that person demonstrate awareness of their mood and emotions? 5, wow, they knew, they were really tuned into themselves. 1, not at all. Give them a score. 2, they made others feel appreciated. 1, I felt like I was the king. Or 5, I felt like I was the king. And 1, they didn't even know I was alive. 3rd one, they were open and honest about mistakes. 5's the high score, 1's a low score. Made ethical decisions. Man, did the right thing, even when it was tough. 5 high, 1 low. Manages their emotions effectively in difficult situations. Were they the Zen master? Don't worry, the world is falling apart. Okay. Or were they, oh my God, the sky is falling, when everything went wrong. And then finally, recognizes others' hard work and achievement. So I'm surprised very often in this part of the session, people say, hey, is it okay if I give minus scores on these? And so you should end up with a score between 6 and 30. If it's lower than that, I understand where it came from. Okay? Again, the same question. What was it like to spend time around that person? How did they make you feel? So write down 2 or 3 words on how did they make you feel? When you were in the car, driving into work, getting ready, how did you feel? What are the words to describe the way you felt? Were you happy, excited, optimistic, or something else? So when you got 2 or 3 words, okay. And then finally, give them a rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, 8, 9, 10 is, man, they motivated me to give the best. And 1, not at all. Give them a score. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to contribute to me first off. Tell me a little bit about the best boss. What's first? I'm going to take 10 scores from you. First 10 people. So please shout out a number. I'm not going to ask you questions, just shout out a number. 27, okay. 30, thank you. That was really a shout. That was great. 20, 28? 28, yeah. 29, did I hear a 24 somewhere out there? Yeah. 22. 23. How many have I got there now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Give me 2 more and I'm a happy bunny. 19. 1 more. 25. Thank you. Now, first thing I'll say to you is notice, and this is, doesn't matter where it is in the world, it doesn't matter that it's simultaneously translated, culture, language, we are all the same in that we see these behaviors as desirable or not. And when I do this everywhere in the world, the people who are the best boss score typically north or higher than 20, and very frequently higher than 25. Chen, did you work out the average for that?
Roughly around 27.
So the average was about, say, 27. Okay, super. Let's have a look at Darth Vader. So what was your score for this so-called worst boss? Give me 10 of those. 12. 14. 10. 9. 12. 13. 6. Wow, sorry. 7. 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. 1. Oh, wow. Okay. And Chen will work out roughly what the average is. Again, the first thing I'd say to you, the difference between these two people in your world, one was the worst boss, one was the best boss. The difference between them here is you were able to see what made them the best and the worst boss well enough in the way they behave to put a number on it. These go all the way down to minus numbers, no matter where you do them in the world, and they typically will fall from, 17, 18, all the way down to, even though that's not possible, to have a 1, they'll fall down to 1, because people feel that strongly. Rough average?
10.
Rough average is 10, okay. Rough average is 10, super. Give me a few of the words that you use for how the best boss made you feel. Wait? Fully motivated. I'm just going to put F motivated because I am too slow. What was that? Authentic. Somebody else, how did it make you feel?
Brings the best out of me.
Got the best from you.
Brings out the best out of me. Brings out.
Bring out the best. So, I'll paraphrase. Bring out the best. Give me another one. Safe? Yeah, isn't that a great word? Safe, yeah. Confident. Isn't it interesting? Confident is your confidence is a very personal thing. Okay? And yet somebody can turn it on or off by the way they behave. So confident. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there because this is what you get. You get typically associated with people who show up in this way, they make you feel that way. In reality, the philosophers in the room will say, they don't make me feel, I choose to feel that way. But, let's not go philosophical. Reality is, they are at least a catalyst. Their presence at least makes that happen. What about this person over here?
Stress.
Which?
Stress.
Depressed. Good Lord.
Stress.
Oh, stressed, I'm sorry. Marginalized, yeah. Disgusted. Wow.
Exactly. Piece of shit.
Go again?
Piece of shit.
Okay. Piece
POS.
of doo-doo. Yeah? Give me one more. Which? Humiliating. And these are strong words. On a recent webinar, one person, I swear to God, I have the recording, she said, like killing her or me. Which is really wow. And I'm sure you've had that experience. And again, look at the difference between the way you show up and the impact it has on people. How we choose to behave, how we show up, has a dramatic impact upon people. Final one, and we've already gone to the worst one. Let me go to this one. What discretionary effort did you give for the best boss? How well did they motivate you out of 10? 2. Only 2. The best one. Okay. 10. 8. 9. Hey, you see where we're going, right? So again, these people, just by the way they showed up, and the way that made you feel, had a dramatic impact upon, you know what this is? Your engagement. Our research, and other research shows, more than 50% of the scores that people give in employee engagement surveys come down to the relationship with the boss. Critically important. How you show up is critically important. And not just in work situations. When dad walks into the house and he's pissed, I can't believe that word just came out of my mouth. If dad walks into the house and he's really angry, what happens to the house? It gets a little bit different. Okay? What about here? What was this person? What sort of score in terms of how they motivated you? 2? 1? 9? 9? 3? 6? 4? And here's what we see all the time. And I'd be interested, we don't have the time, be interested to explore that. Sometimes people get intimidated and humiliated into working harder, which is not being motivated, it's working harder for all the wrong reasons. But here's the thing. These two people showed up in two completely different ways. The way they showed up and the difference between them was observable, because it was behaviors. The behaviors are a choice. Now, this person, I don't suppose that this person got out of bed in the morning and said, I want to be the worst boss in the world. I want to turn off everybody in the office. They've just learned to be that way and they don't know better. So if they were able to have the benefit of knowing, here's how people experience me, they might actually turn up slightly differently. But the key message, I guess, is best. The key message is best, but maybe you can move that for me, because it's just not working. Okay. Maya Angelou. People will never forget the way you made them feel. Proper, demonstrated, observable emotional intelligence is the science of how to make people feel. And it's decisive. It's the decision to turn up in a way that motivates people. And that's what you did. You just assessed those two people using our model of emotional intelligence. We have 6 scales. On each of the scales, there are 7 items, 7 behaviors. Now, we just took one behavior from each of those scales. And look what you were able to do. Just by looking at those 6 behaviors, you were able to separate your best boss from the worst boss. And imagine if I had worked you through the process of asking you about 42 behaviors. Then we would be able to put not just the best and the worst, not just the black and the white. We'd be able to put anybody on that scale and say, hey, here's what you're doing well, keep on doing it. Because this is not a lost case. This can be changed. If you know what you're doing well, you keep doing it. If you know what you're not doing well enough, you can choose to change that. So, emotional intelligence, which is the science of how you make people feel. It's the science of how you can choose the way you show up to people, is the differentiating factor over the next 10 years. Over the next decade, your academic qualifications will just be the payment you make to get into the game. What will differentiate you is your people skills. Don't trust me. Go onto the web, put in artificial intelligence, put in emotional intelligence, and look what you get. Hundreds of things that say what the Harvard Business Review says. The things that will differentiate your clients in the future are the very, very human characteristics that Sophia and her programming friends will never be able to copy. Because a machine cannot feel empathy, it cannot feel your pain. It cannot understand, it can process, it cannot understand. It cannot persuade in the same way as a human does, it can't be authentic. And seriously, can you ever imagine Sophia standing in front of you here and getting you go, yay, I can't wait to get back to work? It ain't going to happen. So here's my advice to you. Very simple. My advice for your clients. Let me do an aside. One of the reasons that you're in a great position in the work you're in is this is what you do. This is what you're about. You are about imbuing these capabilities into people. So you are already ahead of the game because this is part of the way you work right now. Here's the best advice that Harvard Business Review can give you. Here's the best advice that the World Economic Forum can give you for coping and surviving in the next 10 years. First one, forget about fighting it. It's here. An earthquake happens underneath the sea in Southeast Asia, and a big body of water starts moving. And it's going to crash onto some shores at that stage. From the moment the earthquake starts, it's going to crash onto shore. You can't stop it. Everything that was necessary for this technology to crash over us has already happened. We can't stop it. Don't resist it. You're going to lose. Work around it. And by work around, I mean help your clients to assess their capabilities. Assess them using tools that are designed to see how are they seen, how are they observed to show up. Make sure that they know here's what you do well and here are the things you don't do so well. And then when you have that good, solid, objective information, when you have that, thank you. When you have that, then help them to develop that. Because in the next 10 years, all of the research says these are the differentiators. So that's my talk. That's what I wanted to say. Now, when you charge somebody money to come to an event like this, you take something from them, a resource that they can get more of. But you've just given me, 36 minutes of your time. You never have that again. So I want to give you a gift back in return for that. And we have put together a toolbox, a toolkit with information on how do you introduce emotional intelligence to your clients. You can get it just by going to this and downloading it. In fact, you can do it, during the lunch break if you want to. It'll be sitting in your email when you get back there. Really beautifully put together resource. In addition to that, if you download that, we'll also give you access to the BCC e-library on lots of topics to do with emotional intelligence. So all that remains for me is to get out of your way, because I know it's never a good place to be between people and food. So I'm going to get out of your way. I'm going to thank you very much for laughing in the right places and not laughing in the other places. And I look forward to seeing you again sometime. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, we'll be outside. Enjoy your lunch.